French-English relations. Learning goal to learn about French-English relations post-World War II. Maurice Duplessis and the Union Nationale. 1930s to 1950s, Maurice Duplessis and the Union Nationale came to power in Quebec in 1936 and remained premier until his death in 1959. There were three effects of the Duplessis terms, and they were: Quebec remained backwards in education and social services, the English began to dominate the Quebec economy more, and Quebec became an enemy of the English federal government. Jean Lesage and the Quiet Revolution. 1960. Jean Lesage and the Liberals came to power under Lesage. Quebec went through a quiet revolution. Rapid economic, social, and cultural change without bloodshed. Four goals of the Quiet Revolution were: modernize Quebec quickly, guarantee the survival of French language and culture, Quebecers to control their economy, and make French culture and language equal in Canada. Reforms to achieve the goals of the Quiet Revolution were: they created a professional civil service, jobs no longer given to political supporters, reformed the education systems, took control of schools from the Roman Catholic Church, and introduced the Cégep, improved hospitals and social service programs and gave power to labor groups, and reformed industry, consolidated foreign hydro utility companies and created Hydro-Quebec. French became working language of company. Reforms of the Quiet Revolution did help Quebec, but some believe that the revolution did not go far enough. Those who criticized the Quiet Revolution included Pierre Trudeau and Jean Chrétien. They believed that Quebec needed to have a greater influence in the federal government. Both Trudeau and Chrétien joined the Liberal Party in 1967, and both are former Canadian prime ministers. René Lévesque and the Parti Québécois. Separatist party formed in 1967 under Lévesque, wanted to see Quebec become a separate or sovereign country from Canada. Front de Libération du Québec, the FLQ, wanted Quebec to be free from English Canada through a violent revolution. The first stage was terrorism. The October Crisis. 1960s and 1970s, the FLQ bombed English businesses in Quebec. On October 5, 1970, FLQ kidnapped James Cross, an English diplomat. On October 10, 1970, they kidnapped Pierre Laporte, the Minister of Labour for Quebec. On October 16, 1970, Laporte is assassinated. His body was found in the trunk of a car, and the cause of Laporte's death was strangulation. Fortunately, Cross was freed in December in exchange for the freedom of several FLQ members. The FLQ had used Cross and Laporte to obtain world publicity for their cause and to free FLQ members who had been imprisoned for their bombings. War Measures Act. The War Measures Act was invoked by Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau to deal with the acts of terrorism that the FLQ committed in Quebec. The War Measures Act gave the police special powers. Soldiers were sent in to patrol the streets of Quebec, Montreal, and Ottawa, while the police in Quebec could search for the missing Cross and Laporte. And under the War Measures Act, 497 people were arrested and imprisoned on suspicion. Most were later released.